follow me, but I don't see that soul, yeah. Have a little faith in me, yeah. It's all I need, yeah. Baby, you're all I need, yeah. You're my G. Bad bitch, no underwear. 2020 gon' pull up an egg, yeah. Bitch, I know where you can go. Uber everywhere, yeah. Take my bitch everywhere. We be getting money everywhere, yeah. They don't even know. They be throwing shade everywhere. Baby, give me shade, give me.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Porthole to Justice, the window to the truth. I am your host, Amelia Duran, and this is episode 4 in a series of interviews that I've been doing with photojournalist Sahar Chinyere. And we've been talking about predatory targeting, stalking, things of that nature for the last 4 podcasts, and we're going to continue with that. And I think today we might be getting into a little more into the spiritual aspects a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and call Sahar. Oh, I may have gotten too early. Hi, welcome to the podcast. Did I get you too early?
No, this is fine.
Okay, awesome. So we're live.
Okay.
How are you? How have you been?
Okay, thank you.
So,
well, that's kind of a lie.
I know.
Yeah, they've really increased the poisoning me. But the good news is, because I was... Basically, there's like 3 suspected sources, right? When it's coming into the room, the vent and the, from the outdoors, because I'm actually trying to air out whatever, it is that they're putting in to cause me setbacks neurologically. And it's causing breathing problems and stuff too, shortness of breath, and it's very skin corrosive and all. So undermining my health, appearance, and functioning to sabotage all of that, which I'm sure is deliberate. And so... I have the windows open, but sometimes I wonder, something may be coming from outside, although I'm on a high floor, so it's not as much risk as if I were on a lower floor, or if I were too close to like a neighboring, they have those, sometimes that you can see like chimney smoke or what have you, whatever you call it, stuff coming out of some nearby buildings if you're too close to those high up too. But I'm not. I'm far enough away from the stuff going on top, and I'm far enough away from the stuff going on in the street. So, but I still sometimes check the windows and make sure it's not something that smells like it's coming in from there, and it's not. So that pretty much, and then I've got it narrowed down to the coming in through the door, which actually years ago, before I had any kind of a good idea what was going on, that they were already trying to make sure I could not settle into housing, and an elderly woman was used at that time, and she admitted to the police that responded that she had been assigned, she said, by a pair of men. She believed those men to be from the FBI because they apparently told her they're from the FBI. They probably flashed badges. Whether they really were from the FBI or not, I don't know, but it always concerned me because my second stepfather, who was frequently trying to frame me, there's several files uploaded publicly that show that clearly. Him and the person believed to be my mother, both government contracted psychiatrists.
The woman actually put that in the police report that she was...
Well, she told the police who came. So there's some other potential sources to track this down. I don't want to say too much about it right now because they've kept me so feeling so ill and everything and things have been closed because I went to police headquarters. I'm going to have to go back. But people that are not normally there and all were not there because of this coronavirus thing. I didn't realize it was also like put them on lower hours and lower staffing and everything at the police headquarters and everything too, but apparently it has. So because I know there's corrupt people trying to disappear, they've been trying to disappear me and they've been trying to disappear my evidence. So that's why I don't want to say too much about that right now, but I am confident to say, because I've been reporting on this now for over 13 years and they've been trying to discredit me the whole time and they've not succeeded because I'm very careful, to only say things, first of all, that are true. I have no reason to make anything up, because there's so much other stuff that's terrible that they've done that I know to be true, but if I don't, have the documentation properly pinned down yet, I avoid talking about it. That's basically it. So, but there is more than one route to corroborate that. I just don't want to, talk too much about it right now until I get it in my hands, the corroboration. But that did happen. I was, and it was the third of 3 places in a row where I tried to live, where something, really at least health endangering, if not life-threatening, happened, or at least it seemed life-threatening to me. Like, there was a place very close to that literally the water heater overhead exploded. There was an explosion that was documented by the housing, I think they're called housing police or so, or HPD, whatever, maybe housing preservation developments, and they have to check what all the acronyms are, but they, Housing and Preservation Department, I think maybe that's what they're called. And but so somebody from there came, and I did not have any sense that they were like pocketed or anything like that. I think it was less corrupt at that time, or at least it seemed to be, but it was before smartphones in the 90s. And so now with this thing with the smartphones, I've been trying, desperately for years to get communications that they're not hijacking, and it's obvious to me they're still hijacking them, so they route them. So like if I were to try, which is the reason I walked over to police headquarters, I'm going to have to walk there again, because if I try to pick up the phone to call somebody, or even more naively try to email to the department or something, then, I get the most, outrageous, inappropriate, unprofessional, responses and stuff. Yeah, which I realize that this is beyond what I'm willing to really think could be like, statistically just happening when you call police, even in person. I mean, I know a lot of people don't trust them and what have you, and especially with the experiences I've had, but I got to be seeing, like, I don't think this could be possible that, like, all these police, and, pretty much 100% of the time, that none of them are sympathetic, that you had, your first stepfather told you, your father sold you to me, he was a pedophile police officer, they all just want to try to frame me and get me disappeared as paranoid, whatever. I don't believe that at all. I don't think that it could be more than 50%. I think it might be like 50-50, but I don't think it's more than that. So then I realized, yeah, these people are really, making sure that my communications get routed always to one of them. They keep me amongst themselves. So that the only way for me and other people being targeted like this to get a real chance for help, to get a legitimate person who's not pocketed by them, is to like talk with somebody live, like in the right place, like at the police station, at the headquarters. You at least know that is somebody who really works there in that capacity, whatever, and then you might have like a 50-50 chance you might get some help.
Wow.
And that second stepfather, he worked for the FBI. In addition to working for behavior modification, which is used basically for the human trafficking targets. So a lot of them don't even know that they're being trafficked. But whether they know it or not, they get taught learned helplessness, and other things get done to them to make them easy as possible to control. It's all about minimizing, a lot of it's about minimizing the risk.
Yeah, and then it's reinforced by calling it or labeling it victim mentality behavior.
Well, they'll do a lot of things to they'll deliberately addict somebody to drugs or so, if they can do that. And I've never been willing to be experimenting with drugs or what have you, but I didn't imagine what's happening now would be happening, which is obviously I've been getting dosed with drugs anyway. So, I'm not agreed. I absolutely do not agree. But obviously people get sent to be dosing up my breathing environment with heavy drugs, and I'm not sure exactly what they are. And I mean, I went and I paid for a lab test to be tested for, the common drug panel, and it came back negative. So now I'm trying to figure out, well, okay, what else? What else is something? And then I'm breathing in, and it very quickly and drastically affects my health and my breathing and my functioning, and so my neurological functioning, my ability to focus and all, and my skin. It corrodes my skin very rapidly. So far, my skin's been able to bounce back, but I mean, I'm 49 years old. It's very
long-term exposure.
It's really something that they're doing to somebody.
Yeah, long-term exposure, you can develop, an allergy to.
Well, they also said, actually, I have a recording. I did not pull that one up at the right place, and it is one of the ones that is harder to hear, but it's in the file on my YouTube channel called. Let me double check the name on it. It's a re-upload. and because they knocked it out, but I re-uploaded it. It's called re-upload MK Ultra cancer causing, brain damaging, covert energy weapons and perps voice. And in there, they're actually heard making reference to the fact that they know that I can get cancer from what they're doing. I don't know if if that was like their plan, or it's just like a risk they don't care about taking, that they don't care that they're taking. I'll see in a little bit if I can pull up the transcription easily without knocking out the other files. I pulled up because I got the other ones ready.
You've been researching this for 13 years. How common do you think these activities are, and people just are unaware?
Very, very. I was actually talking with somebody that works for the company that manages the hotel that I'm staying in now. They've been very nice. The people that I know that officially work here have been very nice. So that is another thing that helped me to, and the vent, I tested it because there's been times where some bad, it feels like more, like it's more dangerous because there might be some cooperation with somebody that's, officially working there, and that can help them to make the vent go the wrong way. And the vent going the wrong way, it's actually pushing, I've done some video footage of that in the video section on facebook.com/snoweoak, SNOEOAWC. And instead of sucking the air out of the bathroom like a vacuum, that's apparently how they're supposed to work. I wasn't somebody who really knew anything about the stuff beforehand, but I was, since all this, I've been told things like that. And I was shown the test to do to see if it's working properly. The basic part, like that it's sucking the air away out of the bathroom. So you put a single sheet of toilet paper, and it should suck that up and hold it up there, right? So you should have to pull it back down, because if you just let it go, it should be sucking it in like a vacuum. So, and to be fair, depending on how strong or weak that pull is, you might need to make sure it's a single ply, not a double ply. But at least a single ply, single sheet should be sucking that up. You shouldn't have to hold it there. And then, but I've done some videos where I knew that something really wrong was going on. It seemed like the vent had been rigged to actually blow bad air into my space from probably nearby other bathrooms, whatever, even more specifically, because in one place I was told it was the bathroom, people used the room above me. That was in Las Vegas in 2014. A security guard at a hotel there, and I don't want to say too much more, so I don't want to get that person in trouble, because that was one legitimate concerned person out of I don't know how many maybe not legitimate people, but told me that the room directly above was used to push chemicals into your room through the vent. So, but here I did the vent test, and when I first got here, it seemed like everything was pretty clear. I did the vent test periodically. It seems like it's sucking the air out, but I would be getting periodically, at least twice a day. I like to do it morning and night, set back, and I can smell this stuff. I recognize the smell as far as that's the same stuff, but I don't know what that stuff is. And so then I got it narrowed down to, it seems like they have somebody coming because they know where I am. So they don't need the cooperation of somebody who actually works here if they're not coming, using some access or so to get into the room. And I'm not sensing or observing something that they're coming into the room here. So, or that they rigged something in the room here. So I think, unfortunately, for better and for worse, they're coming right to my door and getting bad chemicals into my space that way, like the elderly woman admitted to police she had done in the 1990s. She had done that in an apartment just shortly before that apartment building. Just as I was stepping out of the shower, the water heater I was told by somebody else that might not have been legal the way they had it set up. So that also probably should be looked into. I don't know, but that might have been more set up even than I was thinking. But that it shouldn't have been able to do. It shouldn't have been to where it could even have happened. But it did. What happened? I'm getting out of the shower one day, and the hot water heater was apparently directly above, and I wouldn't have known except it exploded and it comes crashing down through the ceiling into the bathtub that I was just stepping out of.
So you talk about the